Welcome back to Garfield Kart. It's me, your favorite Garfield Kart influencer, the figurehead of the Garf Kart community. Unofficial, but I'm the figurehead, so basically it is official. Alright, who's gonna argue? No one. So I'm like probably one of the few people that play this game. But it's alright. You know what they say, to Fortnite philosophy, the closer the circle, the closer you are to victory. Alright? If you think about it, Garfield Kart is just like Fortnite. Because only the strong survive. Let's get right into it. Single player, obviously. We're doing 100, and I know I can hear you screaming at me, distressed. Why are you a little baby boy? Little baby wussy boy, little sissy boy. Why won't you do 150cc? But you guys gotta remember, this is my first time playing consistently in a while, alright? This series, this is me getting back into my prime. Because I'm not in it, I'll admit it, I'll be the first to admit it. I'm not in my Garfield Kart prime, but we're getting close, and we'll be there, and you'll know when I'm there, and then we'll move up to the coffee pot. Alright, at least I'm going medium, alright? I'm not playing it safe with this little milk bottle. I'm not sucking at the teat of conformity, alright? We're microdosing, that's what we're doing. Still do a Grand Prix. I say, that silver stains my legacy. We gotta fix it soon, but today, I think we'll be going with Pizza Cup. We'll go in chronological order. I kicked my guitar on accident. Alright, now, I'm a squeak man. Everyone knows how much I love the squeak. But I think today, I'm feeling Garfield. Slightly more speed, because that's the one thing. Squeak lacks a bit on speed. Makes up in handling though. But Garfield's a little more what I'm looking for. We got the Viking helmet, which gives me more lasagnas. See the pirate hat. Pirate hat kind of sucks, especially if I'm in first. I'm not getting the perfume, but I'm going to be getting lasagnas, an extra lasagna, a whole extra lasagna. That makes all the difference, honestly. Still don't have spoilers, but I'll grind eventually. I'll get them. Today though, we're talking about something important. We're going back in time. We're winding back the clock. We're talking about a period of American history that I don't think gets talked about enough. Alright? Prohibition. I feel like it's a significant event in history, and I seriously don't think people talk about it enough. Because, obviously there was a bigger fish to fry at the time. But that was it just has a lot of weirdness around it that I think needs to be discussed, and that weirdness is exactly what we're going to be going after today. Alright, we've seen the track, we're ready, let's go. Let's go. Absolute speed. Look at the speed we're getting. We just knocked Squeak off so the springs, what the? I thought the springs would stack and I could do like a double jump. That would have been cool. Where's my bonus lasagna? I'm supposed to get one of those. It's alright. We're catching up. We're getting in the flow. Anyway, Prohibition. what I think is so weird about it is, as far as I'm concerned, no other drug law made it into the Constitution. Like, that's weird, right? Is that they specifically made it an amendment. Alright, this was during the Depression, of course, you know. We were really eating dookie as a country. But, you know, and this kind of Puritan movement was on the rise. And you know, it was against certain things, certain, like, worldly pleasures, I guess. It was a more religious movement. And a big part is sobriety. And so this starts getting pushed. There's pressure on the government by this movement to ban alcohol. And what's so weird is Congress could have just made it a normal law, like, hey, alcohol's illegal now. But they specifically made it an amendment. I mean, I'm pretty sure there is no Constitution amendment that says, like, hey, no pot. I didn't even go out of the map. What was that? That, you know, it says, like, no pot or whatever. But that's just such a weird thing to put in the Constitution, because that's more supposed to be, like, people's rights, you know? It's supposed to be more of how the government is supposed to behave, while legislation is for, you know, how the citizens behave. You know? So that's already weird. And the second part is how quickly, I mean, one, how they apparently, you know, didn't see how the consequences of that would go. Alright, third place. Sorry guys, I'm not used to Garfield. We'll get used to it. We'll feel out Garfield. Third place. We got Nermal in front of us. I hope he dies. Hope he gets shot. I hate Nermal. We should put him down. Collectively. Euthanize Nermal. I'll make it a hashtag. I'll make it a trend. Hashtag euthanize Nermal. But anyway, let's start. Alright, let's get this head start. Go around him. Look at that maneuver. So close. So it's almost as if it was intentional, because what was weird is how quickly they, you know, doubled down. I mean, obviously there was bad consequences, but there's no way they could have known that any of that was going to happen. Because what we start to see is, you know, gang violence or mob activity goes up because alcohol is banned now. And of course, you know, America is very alcohol heavy. What are the people going to do? They're going to want to drink as much as they possibly can, because screw Congress. So anyway, so close. It's right, we have lasagna. So what I think is happening is that prohibition was not what I thought. I think it was an excuse, like the whole Puritan, whatever it's called. I don't know if it's called Puritanism, because I think that's like a religion, but either way, that whole movement of like this purity stuff, I think that was a scapegoat so they could finally do this. I think they were planning how they're planning this whole thing. Oh man, I'm screwed. And you know, let's look at the facts. All right, so prohibition happens. Let's put in law. Everyone wants to drink. Now, I'd like to note that prohibition didn't ban having alcohol, but I have a copy of the Constitution right here with me. It says the ship, like the transportation and the sale of alcohol, is Oh, and the importation of it is illegal. So they didn't ban having it, so people with private stores were all set. But everyone else, you know, they had to rely on the mob. They bought alcohol from the mob for crazy inflated prices. And, you know, that makes sense. Like, obviously, illegal things are going to be expensive because, you know, it's a supply issue. It's hard. You can't make as much if, you know, the law's on your butt. Locked in. We're goated. Let's go, Garf. See, I told you we're getting used to him. He doesn't quite have the handling of Squeak, but we're on it. But anyway, the alcohol prices are crazy inflated. So what I think was happening is that Congress was using prohibition to get cheaper booze for themselves. And I think just drug laws like this in general happen, but especially with prohibition. I think it started with prohibition. All right? Because, I mean, think about it. They, you know, put it in the Constitution. That's already kind of suspicious that they made such a... They put it above everything else. So, you know, they're all obviously very much in agreement about this, which doesn't make sense. You think, like, especially the more conservative fellas might be like, hey, I love drinking, let's keep it. But, you know, let's get a good start here. So I think what was happening is they're using the mob to funnel alcohol for cheaper directly to themselves. I know what you're saying. Didn't you just say the mob was inflating the prices? Exactly. Because if you're selling it to the government, you don't have to worry about the law. You can sell it for cheaper, you know? It's a little less expensive to give them. And two, the inflated prices also helped cover the costs of what they're selling to the government. So the government was using the mob for cheaper alcohol just to get cheaper alcohol for themselves. Oh, man. Let's go. Pass up these chumps. Except you, Squeaks. Love you, Squeaks. Look at that play. I know I was trashing on the magic wand earlier. And anyway, we know the government already has mob connections, especially, you know, around this time, because this is really when the mob started to take hold of America, you know? It's prohibition, because suddenly they had such a huge market. And we know the government works with the mob. Like, this is just common knowledge. I mean, think about, let's go to JFK, you know? JFK, he's parading around, and he's shot, allegedly, by Lee Harvey Oswald. And while 2 days later, while Oswald was being transported to, you know, another jail, he gets shot by Jack Ruby, who, wouldn't you know it, is connected to the mob. He was a mobster, and he worked with police officers. He would pay off police officers to make his, you know, territory, you know, more, you know, to just kind of avoid his territory. So, we know the government has connections to the mobs. And we also see this with the Reagan era, alright? You know, everyone knows about Ronald Reagan. He would plan, or at least under his administration, government and CIA would plant drugs in low-income neighborhoods, primarily like crack and stuff, in order to, you know, keep them poor and dismantled, so we could develop everywhere else and, you know, keep the rich rich, and to, you know, stop minorities from, like, getting more rights or whatever. So we know this is something that the United States does. We know that they're using drug confiscation for their own personal gain. We know that they're keeping the things they confiscate, and we know that they're using it. And I think prohibition is where this started. I think the government was already planning on something like this, and could, you know, and just needed an excuse, which was that whole purity movement thing during the Great Depression. Oh, we're on top. Look at that. Normal in tied for third. We collectively are putting him down. Odie, I love you, Odie. Doing exactly as I said. Arlene, you know, maybe you're not that bad. You need to back off, though. Yeah, we got a heavy lead. We probably could get, like, we could probably get, like, 4th place and still be in 1st. Alright. Next race. I think this is where it starts. And what we also see with Prohibition is, you know, everyone wants to drink out of defiance and, you know, hatred for this new law. Clip through the ground. We see people are actually drinking more than when alcohol was legal. You know, so we have obviously more alcoholism. I swear the AI like runs into me on purpose. I think they make them try and hit you. That's evil. Ooh, look at that lane switch. I didn't even touch the light. So alcoholism's on the rise, and that's good for the government. You know, you want a drunk, addicted population, which again, Reagan showed us. They use drugs to keep certain populations from, you know, causing issues or, you know, from voting. All right, we gotta catch up. I told you we gotta get at least 4th. Look at these plays. So I think the government was also building a stockpile of alcohol to distribute once Prohibition ended, because now, you know, you don't have to get it illegally once they legalize it again. And we see this with every other drug. Like, I mean, pot's being legal in a lot of other states, and the prices are a lot better than, you know, having to buy it illegally. So I think they're also using it for profit and to keep people they don't want voting drunk. Ooh, look at that skip. I'm a pro. Alright, last lap. As long as nothing bad happens. Something bad happened. So yeah, they have these giant government stockpiles, just like they did with the crack, and they're selling them to people they don't want voting, or whatever, trying to keep people drunk. Because, you know, a dumb population is good for the government. That's what they want. They want a dumb, drunk population. And they can, you know, now sell the stockpile for profit. Which, again, we already know because they were working with the mob. They were using these inflated profits, or inflated boo prices. Oh, I clipped through the screen. Oh, yeah. Absolutely beautiful work here. So yeah, we know they're already working with the mob, who is making bank during Prohibition. And so, henceforth, if the government was working with the mob, so was the mob. Or what? What was I saying? So were they. So were they. They were also making profit. They were also making bank. But yeah, that is my thesis. The government used Prohibition to get cheaper drinks for themselves, to sell for profit, and to keep the people drunk. Alright? Stay aware, my friends. Stay aware. Next video, we're probably going to do some more current stuff. And we might do 150cc. Normal tried. Alright, Arlene, what are we doing? Odie, wonderful job. He tried his best, guys. By a landslide. We won by a landslide. Absolutely decimated these guys. Wonderful job, guys. Wonderful job, guys. Except you, Odie, or Nermal. Except you, Nermal. That's right. How dare he stand next to me, especially as the Garf, alright? He wants to be me so bad. That little... I'm gonna kick his butt. I will never, ever be giving Normal a break, alright? Look at his little crown. He thinks he's the king. I'm the king. King of Garfield Kart. Get out of here. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Alright, you know, stay aware whenever you're, you know, maybe reevaluate how you look at certain laws, because they could be used so that politicians and the rich can party cheaper. Because we know that the one thing rich people hate the most is sobriety. That's right. If you ever watch Wolf of Wall Street, I haven't, but I assume he's cracked out most of the time. And I assume he's also rich. I don't know. I've never seen it. I know they say the F word like 100-something times, and they have like a record for that. Anyway, guys, stay aware, stay safe, stay thinking, stay philosophizing, and I will see you at some point in the near future. See ya.